I just accidentally deleted my whole tape. We're going to be back to speaking. I spoke for over 2 minutes. This is the end of the speech.
It is time to rise up and boldly declare those same self-evident truths that changed the world so many years ago, and demand that those truths remain the basis of our laws. My civil rights will not be trampled. And I say this not for me, not for my children, but all men that yearn to be free. Those who make our Apple products at a place called Foxconn, where they are so enslaved they throw themselves off the top of the building. I say these for those who languish in prisons in Cuba, in North Korea, in Venezuela. I say that for those homosexuals who are currently being stoned to death in the streets of Egypt and Iran, while our so-called civil rights leaders hold coffee clatches with third graders at the White House. I will not stand for my job, for my house, or for my income. But I will stand for those immigrants who came here the right way, to not have their dreams destroyed by a group of elites in this town, increasing the competition at the lowest rung of the ladder while keeping the brightest and best minds out of the visa pool, allowing for little competition at the very top. It's wrong. We will not pervert a woman's rights and twist it into a gross, silent defense of abortion doctors in Philly and Houston, while turning our eyes from the forgotten women who have never had the civil right to walk alone on a street without a man, or drive a car in Pakistan or Saudi Arabia, or even those who currently cower in fear with their faces covered in our own country, in Florida, Virginia, New York, and Minnesota. We will not waste another second of our precious life shadowboxing the demons of the past when the fight to end actual slavery is still happening today. Call it what you want, but those who make your iPad in China, those who make your cute little Mao purses, they are the very people you claim to care so much about. They are the ones yearning to breathe free. And worse yet, the oldest form of human degradation that has been seen, the sex slave trade. It currently holds in its coils over 2 million children. The biggest source of this evil is on our border in Arizona. I have spoken to lawmakers in Mexico, and they have begged America to please seal the border so we don't sell more children into a sex slave industry. The press will mock and say what they will, and they will also say, how dare men declare themselves to be the next Martin Luther King or civil rights leader. How blind people are to believe that the civil rights movement ever ended. The civil rights movement never ends, and it never will. It has been marching on since the beginning of time. Where Martin Luther King started is where Gandhi left off. And where he picked it up, Abraham Lincoln left it off. And before that, it was Whitfield all the way back to Moses. It is never too late.
So I accidentally erased my first 10-minute clip of going back speaking.
We are not at the mercy
like
of these events.
About
we can change the course of history, and we must. We can stand against the dangerous arc of our country's story today. But we need more people like you, willing to sacrifice their lives, their fortunes, their sacred honor. People willing to stand up and tell the truth. The last century was a century of genocide, where collectivists, National Socialists, Communists, evil rose up time and time again and swallowed up the lives of millions. It happens every time. Man says the collective is more important than the individual. That one phrase, the collective is more important than the individual, that one phrase every time is a license to kill anyone deemed standing in the way of progress. But last century, evil met its match, and goodness eventually prevailed. Martin Luther King and Bonhoeffer and Lech Walesa gave their lives, or much of their lives, in the pursuit of human rights. They took the side of justice over injustice. They held aloft the torch of freedom to push out the darkness of hate. These men and women lived difficult lives. They often lived shortened lives. They were born to relative privilege. They chose to take on suffering. They didn't want to martyr themselves. They would have been happy to live the rest of their lives. But to the righteous, there is no comfort when evil has taken root. The cause of human rights has been taken over in this country by a group of clownish organizations who share very little with the individuals who led the movement in the 60s. Human rights was once a cry for justice. Now it's merely used as a threat. These organizations have become bullies, grotesque parodies of the principles they pretend to represent. They criticize free nations and spare the unfree. They are nearly comical in their double standards. They are no more the enforcers of civil rights. They are the attack dogs who wish to keep men confined in spaces they design. Whatever moral authority they once had is spent. Their time is up, and we dismiss them. I beg those with eyes and ears to heed the call and to begin to train yourself now under the exact same system used by Martin Luther King. Search his words out. You will find, if you're younger, that your history professors and civil rights activists have lied to you. They've left out the real author of those words. Read them. Ponder them. I dare you to risk to live them. Even though, if you do, it'll make you a target of the NSA. But having your name on a list as an enemy of theirs may be the safest thing you ever do. Pastors, priests, rabbis, I challenge you. What have you done with your knowledge and priesthood power that those without that priesthood privilege have not done? If you can't answer that with power every single day, what good are you? Average citizens and college students, I challenge you. Martin Luther King didn't take a class. He didn't get a certificate. He didn't go out and get a bunch of permits. He saw injustice. He studied eternal truths. He exercised discipline and love. And he got off his butt and he marched. If you don't find a leader, it's perhaps that you were destined to be the leader. Christians, I believe in the free market system. If your preacher is too afraid to preach it from the pulpit, then maybe you should start preaching it from the street corner. Many are called. Will you answer? Our spiritual body is out of shape, and we need intensive training right now. Turn back to God. Some things are worth believing in. The good guys do win in the end. Evil doesn't stand unless good men don't stand up. The time is now, and we are the people. We must never stop being the shore that others can come to for shelter and hope. But we must realign ourselves with truth. Rise. This is the vision. We must preach good tidings to the meek, bind up the brokenhearted, proclaim liberty to those held captive, declare vengeance belongs to God and God alone. Give comfort to those that mourn, beauty for ashes, water the trees of righteousness. We shall not